Welcome to And Now It's a Crisis, a podcast that looks at scandals, disasters, and reputational threats and how your brand can avoid falling victim to them. I'm Andrea Obston. I've been a crisis communications manager for over 4 decades, and I'm here to help you survive and ultimately thrive after a crisis. Okay, let's jump into And Now It's a Crisis. Picture this. It's Monday morning. You've had an easy morning so far. Traffic was light, and the line at your favorite coffee spot was short. You got your iced coffee. You got into the office a little bit early. You're feeling good. Your office is in Boston's financial district. It's the first time you've gotten in since you started 2 years ago. You are the chief marketing officer of the Comfy Place. It's a chain of 21 coffee houses across the Northeast, in and around Boston, Philadelphia, and Hartford. Since its founding 5 years ago, growth has been strong and steady. Within the last year, you've opened 2 new stores, one in Cambridge and one in Framingham, Mass. You have your iced coffee in your hand, you're getting ready for that first sip, and you think, it's going to be a good day. Until the sound of running feet breaks the spell. Your boss, the CEO of the Comfy Place, arrives breathlessly at your desk. He shoves his phone under your nose and bellows, "This is how I started my day. I got a call from my nephew and he saw this on Instagram." And after viewing the 18-second video, you know it's not going to be a good day. It's gone viral, he says. 4 people have already shared it. You have to do something now. Fix it now. Make it go away. And now it's a crisis. Hello, I'm Andrea Obston. I'm a veteran crisis communications manager, and I want to welcome you to the first episode of And Now It's a Crisis. This is the first podcast, and we're going to talk a little bit about how the need to respond to a crisis quickly can make or break a situation, and how today's need for speed can push someone like you who's handling the public face of a crisis into creating a whole new crisis. Stay with us after the break for tips on timely crisis response that won't make things worse. This podcast is brought to you by Project Podcast. They've made it easier than I ever expected to launch this podcast. They set me up to record right from home. I just logged in, recorded, and they took care of the rest. As a marketing consultant, I found that podcasting can be a valuable tool for reaching prospects and converting them into clients. Project Podcast's video-first approach makes content engaging and accessible to those you really want to reach, wherever they are. If you want to grow your business and connect with your audience, I recommend you check out projectpodcast.co. They make the process easy, simple, clear, and effective. Welcome back. I'm Andrea Obston. I've been a crisis communications manager and a reputation manager for over 4 decades. I also teach crisis communication, among other subjects, at Quinnipiac University in Hampton, Connecticut. Welcome to the first podcast in our series, And Now It's a Crisis. I'll be your host through the wonderful world of crisis communications, how you can protect your company's reputation before, during, and after a crisis. We'll talk about ways to identify crises, how to pinpoint and speak to the people who need to hear from you during and after a crisis, how to construct the messages to address their concerns, how to pick the media that will be most effective reaching them, and how to recover your business's reputation and regain trust when it's time. So let's go ahead and look back at the crisis we talked about before the break. That 18-second video that ruined your day and your iced coffee is one that shows an altercation between the barista at your Cambridge store and a customer. The argument gets heated. The customer gets right into the barista's face. And then it happens. The barista throws a giant iced coffee into the customer's face while cell phones document the whole scenario. The shop's manager drags the barista away from the scene as the two of them appear ready to come to blows. The video ends with the customer loudly pronouncing, "This is not my comfy place," and storming out. Clearly, this is a crisis that requires big and fast reaction. The Cambridge store is only 6 months old. Customer trust is on the line. The relationship with that customer is shot, and anyone who saw the whole thing is going to think twice about where they want to stop tomorrow for their shot of caffeine. Not to mention calming down your boss and proving to him you're worth something. And so, yes, a timely response is critical, but not a knee-jerk response. I want to tell you why a too quick response can actually make things worse. Today's need for speed can be your enemy when it comes to formulating the most productive crisis response. Research from PR people that handle crisis tells us that the need to react too quickly is the chief obstacle to successfully handling a crisis. And I can tell you from experience that a too quick reaction can actually create more problems. Why? Because in the first moments of a crisis, you won't know the whole story. The situation will be fluid, and it's going to change over time. Chances are the people in your organization, especially those at the top, will be reacting emotionally. They just want you to make it go away. You need a moment to collect as much information as you can verify. You need to understand what's already out there and what and where the conversation is. Once you have some perspective on the situation, you can create an initial responder statement. That statement needs to demonstrate concern, compassion, and competency. So in this case, we're talking about concern for anyone who's been affected, compassion for any harm that the situation has caused, and competency that you can handle the situation. You also want to try to contain the situation to the platform where it happened. That is, if you can. So in this case, we're talking about Instagram. You also want to create a full statement to keep on hand in case that doesn't work, in case it spreads to other channels, including social and legacy media. You want to communicate to others in the organization that one person, in this case you, or your PR person, or an outside crisis communications resource, that one person is a central source of information. If anyone in the organization gets a contact from them, they should not engage. They should send that outside person who's looking for information to you. You also want to put in place ways to monitor the situation. Remember, people are going to decide whether your company is a villain, a victim, or a vindicator in a crisis. And that happens in the first few moments. Once they make that decision, changing it will be almost impossible. So you want to position yourself, your company, as a vindicator, the fixer of the problem. And you want to do that from the very beginning. Your initial response will most probably be rather wooden. We've all seen those and we wonder why they are. But the real reason is that you won't know the whole situation when you start it. And you don't want to make something that you have to walk back. In many cases, that initial responder statement is a restatement of what's already out there and reassurance that you're aware of and are dealing with the situation. So going back to our initial story, that initial response would be on Instagram. And it could sound something like this. We are aware of the disturbing incident at our Cambridge Square store this morning. We have reached out to the customer involved to ensure he's okay and to initiate discussions on how we can put things right. The barista involved has been put on paid administrative leave while we investigate the situation. We founded our company, The Comfy Place, as a safe and supportive way for people to enjoy themselves while grabbing a cup of comfort. This incident goes against everything we stand for, and we will do our best to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. The bottom line is this. In a crisis, it's tempting to act as quickly as possible to make it go away. But overreacting to satisfy that urge can and does create problems. So take a moment, take a breath, take a sip of that iced coffee, gather your facts and your wits, and carefully construct your initial response. Remember, that response will shape the way the rest of the crisis goes in the eyes of the people who are most important to your company's reputation, today and tomorrow. Thank you for joining us for the first episode of And Now It's a Crisis. Join us next time when we talk about the first few steps to take when creating a crisis response. And please subscribe and follow to And Now It's a Crisis on YouTube, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. If you like it, tell a friend. If you don't, tell me. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Substack, and Instagram. Or reach out to me on my website, Andrea Obston, Marketing Communications. See you next time.